Good morning, my lovely little ghosts, and welcome to the Dark Orchard. I'm Laura, and this is a concert review. As was said in my intro, this is a concert review. More specifically, I'm going to be talking about my Ice9 Kills VIP and concert experience. So, without further delay, let's get started. Before I say much of anything, let me just say, like with every VIP experience video, this is just my personal VIP experience and my personal experience at the concert, with the venue, with the people. This is just how I personally felt. It will not reflect the way that you might feel. This is just a briefing on how it all made me feel. So your experience might be totally different, but I hope you enjoy listening to this anyway. If you've seen my videos before, you know that I usually talk about what I wore to the concert before I jump into the VIP experience. Well, this time it is a very bittersweet conversation because I was making something for Ice9 Kills. I was actually making a dress. This dress was going to be inspired by the 1940s nurses' uniforms. And it was going to be really cute. It was going to be like a mix of movie inspired and 1940s inspired, and it was going to have a little bit of a creep factor to it but still look like a dress. I also was designing it around Scream, and I had the whole thing planned out in my head. I didn't even draw this one out. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. But then I ran into some issues. I ran into some sewing problems, and I ran into some material problems. I absolutely fell in love with this one specific fabric, and I'm going to show it to you right now. I fell in love with this fabric. It is a dark gray fabric that has cups and popcorn and candy and 3D glasses on it. It is a monochrome fabric with movie themed things on it. This fabric was going to be my inspiration for the entire dress. This was going to be the accent pieces that made everything come together. The collar was going to have that fabric, the cuffs of the sleeves, because I was going to do a quarter sleeve and have a cuff on the arm out of that fabric. Then I was going to have it as a belt on the midsection, and then the bottom hem of the skirt was also going to be that fabric. However, the fabric was $12 a yard, and I could only get my hands on 1 yard. So I tried to make it work. I made the collar, I made the sleeve parts, and it just didn't come together right. The traditional nurse's uniform had a pleat in the back, so there was a panel, and then the panel connected to a pleat that brought the back in, which is supposed to make the bust tighter. It didn't look right on me. Probably because of my proportions. I've got short legs, I've got a weird torso. It just wasn't working. It was not working the way that it should. And the fabric was bunching in the back. I looked like I had a harness on, like at any moment somebody was going to lift me off the ground. Like it just looked bad. It was poofy and it looked bad. So what I did, I tried to crop it in the middle and rearrange it. I actually... 2 nights before, I took out the entire back panel. I went to the water park show the next day. Then I had that Wednesday free, and the Wednesday before the Thursday of the concert, I sewed all day long. I at first replaced the back panel. I thought that would fix it. I still wasn't happy with it once I put the skirt on, because the skirt was supposed to be a pleated skirt, and the pleats just weren't adding up right, and I didn't have enough fabric to add another panel so that the pleats would add up right, because it just wasn't the right proportions for my body, and I needed a second panel so that I could box pleat correctly so that it would be historically accurate and still look like what I wanted it to. So I ran out of black fabric, I ran out of the other fabric, and I was just sitting in my floor crying. I just ended up with the fabric in my lap crying. I made one last attempt at fixing it by making a shirt. The shirt didn't turn out right either. Just flat out did not turn out right. I kept the same collar. You can see how the collar was supposed to be. I even added these little details here. It's all top stitched. It looked pretty from like the bust up. But then, because I was tired, I guess, I don't know, I don't know what happened, but my entire right sleeve was sewn not only inside out, but it was also sewn with puckers, and like I said, inside out. And I finally compromised. I used what I was going to be using for the belt for the sleeves, and I made them bell sleeves, sort of like a clown inspiration, like It Is the End. I was going to completely change it. My skirt originally was going to have Scream on it, the back of the dress was going to have Ghostface, it was going to be really cute, but it just didn't work out. So I did sort of a clown inspired bell sleeve. Then for the bottom of this, I added this peplum. This is basically just a ruffle on the bottom of the shirt, and it was supposed to sit right above my high-waisted black jeans. I thought I was finished with this the night before the concert. Then the day of the concert, I pick it up, I realize the entire sleeve is inside out. I take it off and I just tossed it away. So then I went through all of my shirts and finally decided on a shirt that I used for cosplay. I decided on my Camp Crystal Lake shirt because that shirt fits me nice, it fits me snug, and I like the way it feels. It's not too short, it's not too long, it looks good with the high-waisted jeans. I felt comfortable in it, is what I'm saying. Like, I'd been through so much trying to get this dress perfect that I just needed something comfortable. I needed to just throw something on and go, and that's what I did. Originally, I was going to be wearing my Ghostface pendant. It's sort of like a felt pendant that has Ghostface in the middle. And then I had also planned on wearing my black lace gloves, because that would have been very 40s inspired to wear black lace gloves. I had my whole ensemble figured out. Once I realized I was wearing my Camp Crystal Lake shirt instead of the thing that I had made, I switched my ideas for jewelry. I debated between these two necklaces, and this is actually the one that I decided to go with. Then my big accent piece, which you ghosts have seen before in my other videos, was my red rum necklace. To complete my look, I actually did makeup inspired by Spencer's makeup. I'll pop in a picture here. As for my makeup look, I used Blood Sugar from Jeffree Star's Blood Sugar for my eyeshadow. Then I used Wet n Wild's Red Rogue, which is sort of like a jumbo eye pencil, sort of like the NYX pencils, but this one is a metallic red, and that's what I did the blood droplets with, just to give it a little bit of definition, and then I went back over it with Blood Sugar. For my lipstick, I appropriately used Red Rum from Jeffree Star. Then over top of that, I used Cherry Pie by Medusa's Makeup. It's from the Metal AF lip glosses, and I love this topper. And I also themed my phone case. I took my clear phone case, and then I added my ticket from my last Ice Nine Kills VIP, Ice Nine Kills Silver Scream, and then the Admit one. So I just popped this into the back of my phone case and went. And then my final accessory was the popcorn bag. The popcorn bag was going to be an accessory no matter what, so I just decided to keep the popcorn bag and put all my stuff in it, which means like charger and ibuprofen and money and stuff like that. So the popcorn bag stayed, and the popcorn bag was with me until we went through VIP. So those were the compromises that I made before I even got started for the concert, but then I drove 2 hours. But once I was ready and I got all the tears out, mostly, I started down the road, drove 2 hours, and ended up at the venue. And that's where the experience actually begins. So I had messaged Dan Sugarman. I said, do you guys need anything when you come through Charlotte? He said anything that's healthy, vegan, gluten-free. So I went to Walmart. I picked up some tour essentials. I got like chapsticks, hand sanitizers, wet wipes, just miscellaneous things like that that they could possibly use because they're in a tight space and then they're flying on airplanes, and you know, that kind of stuff just comes in handy. And then for the snack portion that he asked for, I ended up getting Lara bars, which I thought was a little cute. Lara bars are vegan and gluten-free, and they have my name on them, so I thought it was kind of funny, but also a gluten-free vegan snack. So I hope they actually did get some use out of them. I ended up getting 5 different flavors of Lara bars, so I had to have 1 bag just of Lara bars and then 1 bag of the tour essentials. So I ended up walking up with 2 bags in my hand, and I found the line. I found the line because there was a girl standing there with 5 different bags. She had 5 red shimmery bags that looked so pretty and so full of stuff, and I was like, I'm in the right place. So I hopped in line behind her. She turns around and she says, have you got your ticket yet? I was like, no, I was just about to ask about that. And after we chit-chatted for a small bit, she told me where to go find it. I walked down to get my ticket. As I walked down to get my ticket, Ricky starts screaming. He's yelling at someone through the fence, and it scares me to death because I think I've done something wrong. I whip around and assess the situation, and then rush to get my ticket, come back, and I stand behind the girl. The girl's name is Casey, by the way. I know this because she was so super friendly. We started talking about how much we absolutely love Ice Nine Kills. She asked if I was meeting someone there or if I knew anyone, and I was like, not really, because I didn't have anyone with me going through VIP. So she was like, well, you can totally hang out with us. So I did. Her name was Casey. The guy with her's name was Cliff. It was absolutely awesome. We had so much conversation and just talked so much and really got to know each other a little bit. Their friends came up. I was introduced. It was just the most magical experience ever. I felt so included. So if you guys are watching this, thank you so much for including me the entire day, because that meant so much to me. So one of the friends that showed up, her name was Brooke. She was also extremely sweet and nice. They were all so super nice. And if you're watching this, add me somewhere, because I'd love to talk some more. I'd love to get to know you guys, especially since you're kind of local. And yeah, that was nice. I already told Casey, I will follow Ice Nine Kills pretty much anywhere around here. So anytime they're close by, they just gotta let me know and I'll be there. So unlike the water park show, I made friends instantly, and it was so much fun. There wasn't a dull moment. Time went by really fast. We talked about Spencer, we talked about different things, and we realized we had a lot in common. So from my experience, Ice Nine Kills fans are absolutely amazing. I didn't feel alone 1 second while I was there. Not one bit. They just included me. Enough about that. Let's just get into the VIP. So there were 84 people in the Ice Nine Kills VIP, and 10 of those 84 had paid for the side stage experience, which I had thought about getting. Like I had discussed with Casey, we just didn't feel like being side stage would give us the view that we want. We like to be in the crowd, submerged in it, soaking in the music, versus side stage. I would like to do 1 side stage experience, but this just wasn't it. Plus, it sold out super quick, so that's another thing. But mostly, I just like the experience of being in the crowd. So as we were checked in for VIP, they actually checked us in before we went into the venue, so they metal detected us while we were still waiting in line outside, and once we were checked, we got into the VIP line, and that's how they separated VIP from general admission. Chevy came out while we were still standing in line, and she stood in the middle of the street. She explained that even though we were being given masks for the VIP gift, you are not allowed to wear masks in the venue. It's just venue policy, no masks, which is kind of strange since Ice Nine Kills is pretty much based around masks, because horror movies, just about everyone wears a mask. Even Spencer wore a mask almost every song in some capacity. But I totally get it, because when I was a child, I was terrified of masks of any kind, whether it be Barney or Freddy. I didn't like any kind of mask. But anywho, once we got inside, we walked by Chevy. She scanned us in and gave us our bags. Let's talk about the bags real quick, because if I don't, I'll kind of forget. So they actually gave us a VIP drawstring bag, which was fantastic. The drawstring bag was not only useful, but awesome. So let me show you what this drawstring bag looks like. It's absolutely hilarious and I love it, and I just cannot wait to wear it to another Ice Nine Kills show. It's Mickey dressed like Freddy. How cute is that? How absolutely adorable. For those of you that don't get that, Ice Nine Kills was actually supposed to play at a Disney Springs location. I don't remember the location name right now. If I remember, I'll put it down below. If I remember, I'll pop it right here. But basically, because it's on Disney property still, even though it's not inside the park, it's still Disney affiliated, they did not want Ice Nine Kills to perform. Which is kind of strange because the bands that they were touring with got to perform, and some lyrics from there are a lot worse than Ice Nine Kills lyrics. But either way, it was most likely because they had kills in the name, and that was just a red flag, but Ice Nine Kills wasn't allowed to play on Disney property, so now the Disney thing is a joke. And that will come up again, so I just felt like I had to inform you in case you didn't know. But if you're watching this, you might know. So what's inside the bag? I'll show you. So inside the bag, we actually got our VIP lanyards, which you know I love. I love to get a VIP lanyard. The front is this really awesome Ice Nine Kills artwork, and it says VIP. And then the back, it's actually a death certificate, which is super cute. And then, as I mentioned before, we got a mask. Super cute. We got the Ice Nine Kills Jason mask, and actually all the guys that showed up to the VIP signed it. That was really cool. But I really love this mask because it not only has the Ice Nine Kills here, but it's got the 3 straps, just like the actual Jason mask. Whereas sometimes when you buy a Jason mask, it just has like around the head, and that never works out. You gotta have that top strap. So after we all got our bags, the majority of us put our VIP tags on right away. We saw Ricky walk through and then walk back, and then we listened to some horror themes while we waited on the VIP to start. Chevy came back out. She explained how the Jeopardy was going to go, because you also got to play Jeopardy with Ice Nine Kills, which was so fun. So then Chevy put us into groups, and when we were put into groups, I ended up on Casey's team, so we stood to the side. I think there was like 18 to a group, and then they all came out. It was super chill. Dan was the first to come out, and he came out with so much energy, and he says, like, who likes guitars? And then some guy in our group said he liked guitars. And Dan walks over to our group. He says, so who knows anything about horror movies? He was like, the guys that like guitars usually know horror movies. And then Chevy gave the categories. The first category was Scream. He says, anyone know anything about Scream? I was like, me, because, you know. So of course I know Scream. I know Scream. The other categories were like, I don't even remember because I didn't know them as well. One was the Rob Zombie Halloween, I believe, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't know. Scream was all that mattered to me because Scream was the only one I really knew. Scream was the only one I knew enough to know trivia of. Like, the rest of them, I just watch and I don't absorb, but Scream, I can recite front to back. I know Scream. I know all the Screams. Spencer stood right in front of Chevy, and Chevy was the one that was sort of the Alex Trebek. She was the one reading off the questions, and we had to give the answers, and Spencer stood right in front of her with his group. He got first pick. His first category was Scream. I knew every single answer. But of course, so did Spencer, because he knows Scream just as much, if not a little bit more, than I do. And I say a little bit more because he's had the absolute privilege of going to Stu's house multiple times. Color me jealous, but maybe someday. Anyway, we tried to answer the Scream questions. We were squeezing the horn as much as possible because I knew them. I did. I knew them. I knew every single one. But our horn was broken. And Casey even said, "Are you squeezing it right?" And Dan was like, "You want to try?" Honestly, I was expecting kind of harder Scream questions. Like, what was the color of Tatum's shoes when she was at the party? Or what did Gail say when she discovered Kenny's body? Or who first named the killer Ghostface? Like, who do we first hear say that? But instead, just for example, I'll give you one of the questions of many that were asked. It was, who voiced Ghostface? Like, who doesn't know that was Roger L. Jackson? But anyway, the Scream questions were asked. They were answered by Spencer. Dan turns around, says Spencer took all the Scream. Who knows anything about the other movies? I was like, I was your Scream girl. I'm out. Because I was. I only know Scream. I only know Scream enough to answer the questions, but we've already gone over that, so I won't ramble on anymore. But yeah, I know Scream. So because our horn was defective, we just started screaming Dan, or just screaming in general, like screaming like we were in horror movies, to try to get our answers acknowledged. Our team lost, by the way. A really cool thing that I did get to see from the fans was 2 of the VIP members were dressed like the twins from The Shining. That was really, really cool. And actually, I didn't see her there, but I'm pretty sure that another girl that usually goes to the VIPs was there because she was posting pictures from the show, so obviously she was there. I just somehow missed her, but she usually wears a Jason mask on the side of her head. So that would have been really cool to see her. So after Jeopardy, the band started to disperse into different corners, and the guys started their own little lines. So we started with Dan, and like I said before, Casey had 5 different bags. She ended up giving Dan his bag and Joe's bag because Joe was too sick to come to the VIP. So she handed him 2 bags, and I handed him the bag for him that had the Lara bars in it that, you know, he could share. I had specifically talked to him though, so I wanted to make sure that I gave him the bag and not someone else. So we all took selfies with each of the band members. I took my picture with Dan. We moved over to Ricky. Ricky actually was taking people's phones and doing selfies with them instead of letting the person take the selfie, which actually worked out in my favor because he did an up angle, and that's always my best angle because he doesn't get all this funky chin stuff going on. So that was a plus, to have the long arms actually take the selfie instead of my short little stubby arms. Then we made our way over to Patrick, who got popcorn flavored jelly beans from Casey, which is his favorite and also my favorite. I love popcorn flavored jelly beans, as I mentioned in my Jelly Belly nail video. So if you happen to be one of those people that watches my videos no matter what the topic, you saw that and you already know that. But my favorite Jelly Belly flavor is the buttered popcorn, and I have a nail polish to match it now. And then finally we made it over to Spencer's line and waited in Spencer's line. Out of them all, I think Dan was the most chill and the most talkative. He actually spent quite a lot of time talking, but they all were so super friendly, and it was chill. Like, none of them were in a hurry to get out of there. They took their time, they talked. It was just a really fun experience. So then, like I said, we finally got into Spencer's line. And we had to wait the longest there, of course, because everyone wants to talk to Spencer. A lot of people had gifts, like individual toys and things for Spencer that he later thanked everyone for later. But when we finally got up there, I always get nervous around Spencer. It's that Billy Loomis charm. It's that soft Billy Loomis voice. So when I approached him, I just was like, "Hi." And he responded just as friendly, just as sweet, that soft-spoken Billy Loomis vibe that we all just adore. I mean, he just has that I wish he would do a podcast kind of voice, because you could just listen to Spencer talk all day, every day. He very softly said, "I love your shirt," which I'm sure he said to absolutely everyone that came through the line, but I almost cried. I almost cried when he said, "I love your shirt," and I couldn't say thanks I made it. It kind of hurt. But it was my own fault. Oh no. Ooh. Okay, I almost cried in front of Spencer. I just cried just now. I know some of you will probably think that's stupid, but so yeah, it kind of hurt my soul to not be able to respond with my usual. It kind of hurt my soul to not be able to respond with my usual response, but I'm making the statement right here, right now, vowing to myself that next time I go to an Ice Nine Kills headliner, I'm going to get VIP and I'm going to make something wonderful. Something that he's going to actually notice and like, and I'll be able to say those words. Because you ghosts know that's my highlight. That's what I love to do. I love to make things. Of course, I was about to get super emotional right in front of Spencer, and I didn't want that to happen, so I didn't stand there and talk like I should have. I kind of stepped to the side, and I let Casey meet him, and I really enjoyed watching her interaction with him because she wasn't afraid to ask for him to step out from behind the barricade, take a picture with him hip to hip. Like, she was real casual, and I like that. I loved that. So once she was done meeting him and everyone was done meeting him that was with our group, we stepped to the side and talked to Chevy, and I get a selfie with Chevy. So now that I've stopped crying, I'm going to show you the selfies that I made during the VIP experience. So first we had Dan, then Ricky, then Patrick, then Spencer, and lastly Chevy. Dawn wasn't out on the floor, otherwise I would have asked to take a picture with her as well, but she just wasn't out there. She was prepping for the show, I'm sure. But I do love that they gave Chevy a lot more responsibility. She basically did the same thing that Dawn did when they played in Greensboro, plus much more. Like, Chevy's part of their show. Chevy's basically part of the band. So it's really great to see her out mingling with the fans just like the rest of them. The absolute only thing that could have ever made that VIP experience better, aside from me having something that I'd made on, would have been if we had like a Silver Scream commentary. But that would have been, what, over an hour combined with all the videos? I can't help but remember the Falling in Reverse VIP in the same location where Ronnie actually did commentate each individual video. But his videos aren't as detailed as the Ice Nine Kills videos. So I completely understand. It just would be really cool, even if we just got it on YouTube, just having Spencer commentate through the whole thing. Just having like Spencer and some of the others join in and discuss the videos as they're playing. That would be really cool. And it might be coming with the final cut, so I might just be asking for something that's coming anyway. Who knows? So we didn't really get merch priority, we actually just got early entry priority, which was your spot at the barricade. So we ended up standing right of stage, which was my plan from the beginning because I knew that was Dan's part of the stage. And I'd never actually gotten to see Dan play before. He's always been on the opposite side of wherever I was, or he's been too far back for me to see him. So it was my goal to stand on Dan's side and see him perform. So the merch booth actually opened up when the doors opened, and if you were in line to get merch, you were not going to get a good spot on the barricade. So, of course, our priority was standing at the barricade and holding our spots, and we held strong. There was actually a couple that was from the Ice Nine Kills VIP that was right in front of us, and they looked to be teenagers, maybe a little older, no more than like 21. And the girl acted sick. Like, she acted like she just didn't want to be there. I later deduced that maybe she was sick, but I don't know. She was hanging over the barricade, and the boyfriend, of course, was, you know, like, cooing at her, they were kissing, they were coupling. They were just coupling in front of us, and his butt kept knocking into me every time he'd lean over at the barricade. It was just a weird thing to happen. We also noticed that they had an itty bitty little sign that said no moshing or crowd surfing in the corner, and the security guards made an attempt to move it where people could see it, and then they just gave up and moved it back where it was behind the speaker so no one could see it. They basically were like, this crowd's not gonna listen to a sign. I think that's what the consensus was with that. So once the first band started, the first band was Awake at Last. They were fantastic. The lighting was really dark, but the band themselves were absolutely fantastic, and they were super sweet. They were really nice. They got the crowd involved. They had a great sound. It was a really great opener that got the crowd really pumped. All the crowd that wasn't jammed at the barricade were really spaced out during the first 2 acts. And the way that the crowd was spaced out behind the barricade, like besides the ones of us that were jammed into the barricade not wanting to budge, the crowd was really spaced out. There was room to like agitate, and it kind of reminded me of the crowd from Sabaton Open Air in Sweden, because not once did that crowd get tight, and it was just always spaced out. Everyone had their own room to move around. The next band was Light the Torch. I think the first song they might have had mic issues, but otherwise they were pretty good. They had more of a hard sound to them. The screams were really strong and guttural, but if that's the kind of music that you love, they were like really good with that. The frontman was really super funny. He said that the crowd were like a bunch of cheerleaders.
You guys are like awesome cheerleaders and shit. I'm taking you guys with us. This is already awesome. You having a good time tonight? 2 bands down, 2 to go. Who's playing after us? I'm going to ask that again and you will respond correctly. That wasn't meant to be funny. I really want you to respond correctly. Who's next? After that! Nailed it. Good job, guys.
And in between their set and the next set, we saw this big sign that said pit with an arrow pointed down. It was just a fabric sign that someone had that was much bigger than the sign that Olivia tried to take into the water parks event, but we won't get into that. I guess because it was a fabric sign, they got away with it. The couple continued to couple in between songs. Between each time that a band would switch out, the couple would couple, and they'd just kind of lean over the barricade and make out and stick their butts on us. And I kind of wondered why he didn't just kind of like stand behind her and free up his space at the barricade. The crowd actually started singing "We're Not Gonna Take It," which was so cool. Like the whole crowd started singing that song. So the second to last band that came up played for a solid hour, and they were actually really nice. They were really good. Like their sound was fantastic. However, they got the crowd really, really pumped up. Like adrenaline, like crazy pumped up. The bassist did these fantastic like spin kicks and moved around like unlike anything I've ever seen a bassist do before. During this band is when the crowd surfing started, and it got insane. There were crowd surfers every few seconds, and the bassist actually was right in front of me, and he was like, "Put your hands up, put your hands up." So everyone put their hands up, not knowing what he was doing, and then all of a sudden he dives into the crowd right over my head. So he crowd surfed over to the bar, played on the bar, was really cool, really entertaining. Could not get footage of that, of course, because the crowd was going crazy. It reminded me of when I saw Black Veil Brides at Carolina Rebellion. We were so smushed that we couldn't see anything around us. It was just armpits in our faces. I wasn't vlogging at that point though. I hadn't really started doing my channel yet, so you guys didn't know about that until just now. But yeah. But yeah, that's the experience that I had, was just like really mushed. Couldn't really get to my camera to take a video of some things, but just believe me when I say it was really cool. At some point during all of that, I brushed up against someone's boot and actually cut my leg. Not bad, not serious, didn't even notice it till I got home, but I did have a small cut on my leg from the people agitating in the crowd. Probably because the pit got really insane. They wanted to open the whole floor up. They kept saying, open the pit up. I want the whole floor to circulate. And you know, us as VIP members, we're not budging from that barricade. Because once you're on the barricade, you don't want to move. So even if the rest of the crowd behind you is going crazy, you're not budging. And I didn't budge. There was also a lady and her boyfriend behind us, and she was really out of it. I don't know what was going on with her, but she wanted to lay on everybody. She wouldn't stand up on her own. She would just like slump over and knock into people, which of course was distracting because there were crowd surfers, there was a pit, there was a show in front of us, and then she added to it by flopping all over everyone, like one of those inflatable crazy things you see at car lots. Like, she just would flop to one side and flop to the other and flop on everybody. So of course, while they were prepping the stage, we got a glimpse of not only Dawn but also Chevy helping everyone out and getting everything ready for a fantastic show. And they got to decorate the stage because they were a headliner, which is what I was really excited for, and it did not disappoint. The whole stage was decorated. They had these giant blow-ups. They had a blow-up clown hand, and then they also had a blow-up Freddy hand. One side of the stage and then the other side of the stage. The drum set had the Jigsaw Billy the Puppet face on it. It was all really cool. I didn't get much footage of the beginning of the show, of course, because the crowd was insane. The crowd was super pumped up and they were just ready to rock. It was fantastic. You know I love Ice Nine Kills. You know I love this stuff, so it was just absolutely wonderful. Because of the fog and the theatrics and stuff, I heard Joe. I know I heard Joe singing multiple times, but not once did I ever actually see Joe on that stage. Not once. I have no idea why I couldn't see Joe, but I couldn't see him at all. He wasn't at the VIP and I couldn't see him on the stage. I could just hear him. I've already shared the footage from Your Number's Up, but oh my goodness. I loved that performance more than anything. Spencer popped up on that riser and he had the full Ghostface costume on. And it wasn't like a cheap Ghostface costume, it was one of the good ones. And it was just so amazing. And he came over right in front of me. I almost cried. It was an experience and a half. And I want Spencer to write a Scream musical. I mean, if we can have Heathers the musical, why can't we have Scream the musical written by Spencer?
Sorry, sir, but I think you have the wrong number. Just a minute, you'll be dying. Hang on the line. Tell me your name, I'll tell you mine. Dad left you alone. I wanna know what I'm looking at.
Because that's how it plays out. Like, Your Number's Up would of course be the first song performed in the Scream musical, and then I'm sure he could write the rest of it because he's a genius and he loves Scream as much as I do. Please. So by the time Your Number's Up started, we'd all basically found our ground. Everyone was pretty much stable. There was this really tall blonde woman to my side. There was a girl behind me. Her name was Mia. We later exchanged numbers. Casey was to my right, and then the couple was coupling in front of me. We'd all found our spots. We were content. And then this girl comes busting through the crowd like a bull in a china shop. She comes busting through and shoving me. The really tall blonde woman beside of me thought it was me being aggressive, and she gave me the worst look I've ever gotten in my whole life, and I'm sure I looked up to her like a scared mouse, like, it's not me, I swear. But this girl came busting through the crowd, right up to the barricade, knocked the couple out of the way. The couple ended up having to double up, like I'd said before, with him standing behind her, because this girl was just being super, super aggressive. And she was knocking everybody, pushing everybody. Somebody just really needed to tell her she was not the only girl at the rock show, but she was just being too big. Like, she was moving so much and moving every inch of herself, and no one could hold their ground in the barricade because she was just being really strong and really aggressive with everyone. And she ended up at the barricade right in front of me, and she had really long braids, and she kept swinging them around, hitting people in the eyes. She hit me in the eye one time, and my eye burned the entire day the next day. She really was not aware of anyone around her. She was the only girl at her own little rock show. I understand that you love Ice Nine Kills, but there are other people there too. So it was a little disheartening. Just zero awareness of anything else going on around her and how she was expecting the other concert goers' experience. They played quite a few Ice Nine Kills songs that I personally love that are from Every Trick in the Book, and they played some like really good songs. I think they played 19 in total. The one song that I absolutely adored hearing live was Hell in the Hallways. And oh my gosh, Chevy did such a beautiful job in that performance as Carrie. I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away. I actually got a really, really pretty picture of Chevy as Carrie, and I'll pop that in right here. When they played Testimony, Spencer dedicated it to all the women and had all the women that were there with the guy stand up on the guy's shoulders, and it was a really beautiful moment.
And she may never be the sister, but she won't rest until she's turned the villain to the victim. I see silence spinning around through my eyelids as he begs and he pleads just like I did.
The entire song was slow. The whole audience was calm. It was just a perfect still moment and very fitting for the song. When they went off stage, they had not played It Is the End, and of course they had the clown hand on stage, so everyone knew they were going to come back and play It Is the End. So they started chanting Ice Nine Kills. Then they started chanting for Georgie. Just Georgie. Ricky got his own personal chant. And by the way, Ricky was in front of me too. So I actually ended up being on Dan/Ricky's side, whereas I'm usually just on Ricky's side. They changed it up a little bit. But anyway, once they finished chanting Georgie, they went back to chanting for Ice Nine Kills.
Ice Nine Kills! 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 Ice Nine Kills!
And then they came on for the encore, which of course was It Is the End. Spencer was in the outfit, that awful silk outfit from the It Is the End video. And he had this special made mask that looks like the face paint from the It Is the End music video. What would have been fun is if they would have had red balloons up in the rafters like they did at the Motionless in White and In This Moment show, where they released different color balloons from the rafters with the Encore. That would have been really cool, except with just red balloons. That would have been fun. When It Is the End started playing, they actually had Mickey come out as Georgie, dressed in the yellow raincoat, and that was really cool. Spencer altered the lyrics a little bit, and it was really funny. Super cute. Also, there's no reason for fans not to support Disney, just a little PSA. Like, Disney's just doing what Disney thinks is best, so it's okay to still support Disney and to support Ice Nine Kills. It's just a joke. The cutest, funniest, most adorable thing happened during the Encore. Children, actual children, started crowd surfing during It Is the End, which is so funny to me because of the movie It and how it targets children, and then they had children crowd surfing towards the stage. It was brilliant. It was beautiful. It was almost like it was planned. I'm sure it was by someone, but so many children came crowd surfing over our heads in those few minutes, and it was so cool. After the show, they of course threw pics, and Patrick threw his drumstick, and he actually specifically gave his drumstick to Casey, who already had one of his drumsticks, so that was super awesome. The merch line was long, like super long. When I finally got close enough to actually see what was available, this girl beside of me complimented my nails, and this is where I'm going to brag about my nails. I actually did Ice Nine Kills themed nails for the show, and I'll pop in some pictures here of me holding the ticket and me just showing off my nails before the show. Aren't they cute? I loved them. Aren't they so cute? I loved them so much. I was so proud of them, and if you guys want a tutorial on how to do those, I'll totally post it. Also, my Maniology link will be down in the description, and I used Maniology stamping plates for that look. So if you want to do horror-themed nails, check out that link in the description. But the girl complimented my nails. I was so super happy. I wore these nails for over a week, which is not normal for me. I usually don't have the same nails more than 3 days, so you know I loved them. Underneath the Fatherhood Fund, which is the tip jar, they had a sign that said, if you say that one, you have to tip 15%. I ran out of the larger size quickly. They always run out of the larger sizes quickly, but I ended up getting this shirt, this amazing, beautiful Ghostface shirt. It makes me so happy. It's Ghostface and Ice Nine Kills, and I'm just... I've been living in this. It's an extra large, so it's a little baggy because it's unisex sizes, but I love it. It's like everything I love. So once we finally got through the merch line, saw everything there was to see, we walked over to the Awake at Last tent where they were packing everything up. We were pretty much the last ones to leave, and Awake at Last actually offered to sign a poster for us, so I got a signed Awake at Last poster. Ta-da! Yeah. I really liked their sound, and I really liked their personalities. I'll try to remember to put their links down below, but you should totally check them out even if I don't. Just search up for Awake at Last or Awake at Last band. I'm sure they'll pop up. They were really good. And they said they're coming back for a headline tour, I think sometime next year, so that'll be really cool. So, final thoughts. You probably already know this because it's probably my title, but the Ice Nine Kills headliner VIP experience was the best VIP experience of 2019. It was chill. It was at home. You got to say whatever you wanted to say to the guys. They were nice. They were friendly. They just were really personal with you. You got lots of goodies and usable goodies. It was just overall a really good experience, and the best that I've had all year long. Out of all the VIP experiences that I've had this year, the Ice Nine Kills headliner VIP is the best VIP experience that I've had this year. So the 2019 Laura VIP Award goes to Ice Nine Kills. So that was me detailing my Ice Nine Kills VIP experience / concert experience. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that Ice Nine Kills headlines somewhere near you so that you can go see them and possibly do the VIP as well, because it is so worth it and so wonderful. In the comments down below, tell me what your favorite Ice Nine Kills song is. I know I've probably asked that before, but I want you to do it again. Tell me what your favorite Ice Nine Kills song is. My favorite Ice Nine Kills song in general is Star-Crossed Enemies. It's my number 1, but my favorite song from the extended cut Silver Scream is, of course, Your Number's Up. My favorite song from the original Silver Scream is Thank God It's Friday. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you come around again soon. Say bye. Bye. They played so many... Please don't pay attention to my nails. They're terrible today. We actually just got really entry priority. So overall, despite who got back to the VIP, the front man, I don't remember who they were though. I don't remember their name at all. I don't think I have it written down. Oh shoot, like who doesn't know that was Roger L. Quickly found out to try to get the answer. One of the questions was who voiced but was so fun. Rewind, talk about grouping. Now, for those of you that don't know, for those of you that don't get that, chop, get back to the VIP. But like yeah, to know each other. She was standing with, and that's where the whole finally decided on my just flat out did not turn right. Just flat out did out. This is just like, this is probably gonna get on everyone's nerves, so I'm just gonna take it off now. It's a horror movie charm bracelet. As was said in my intro, Ice Nine Kills. What is going on with my eye? You cried, Laura. That's what's going on with your eye. Brain fart. Ugh. My favorite song. I've already shared footage from so when the first band, they had a blow up